Singapore is commonly known to be one of the most expensive cities in the world with mouth-watering food everywhere. Perhaps you're in your 20s, you have saved up a little bit of money and you would like to consider living in Singapore, but you don't know how much it would cost. Lucky for you, I'm currently 30 years old and I've been living in Singapore for my entire life, and I've been documenting my expenses on this channel itself for the past few months. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how much money I spent in the month of July living in Singapore. So let's first review all the expenses that I spent. I have honestly been trying my best to document my expenses for you guys on this YouTube channel and try my best to cut down my expenses every month. I've been doing well, but this is going to be a big fat month of spending because of the anniversary dinner that I had with my girlfriend. So I usually also go from smallest to biggest expenses, but let's do it differently this time. Let's do it a little bit more fun. Let's go from biggest to smallest just to have some fun. So I spent a total of $3,103.29 in June, and this table shows all the different categories that I spent on. This video is basically me trying my best to keep up with my expenses so that I know exactly how much money I'm spending so I can cut down on these areas. Hopefully this inspires you guys to do the same as well. Don't make the same mistake of me of overspending when your income increases, but develop this habit that will definitely help you guys save some money by documenting these expenses. So the biggest and juiciest spending of this month goes to investments. This is the full breakdown, and my largest expenses for investment usually goes into paying for editing these videos on my YouTube channel for you guys. I say you guys, but actually they are more for me to build my brand, my channel itself, and to really further my cause. But you know, just let me justify it this way to say that it's for you guys as well. But I digress. So for editing, my editor has edited 2 videos every week for me, and the total comes up to around $1,125, which is really quite a bit this month. I've been uploading tirelessly 2 videos every single week as I was trying to achieve my challenge of monetizing my YouTube channel. Thankfully, I was able to achieve that, and since it just got monetized, I'm grateful that this will at least help to offset some of the spending from next month onwards. But even though I say that, you know, I probably have about like what, $10 that I just earned for this week itself, so it will barely even be enough. But every dollar counts, and it took me an entire year to finally monetize this YouTube channel, so I'm going to be grateful that I actually have some income coming from this channel itself. But this is also the interesting part. I've also spent $262.95 on camera equipment this month. So this was honestly what I justify as a business expense. That's why I tell myself all the time when I get these things. What happened was that my girlfriend brought me this new camera that I'm actually filming on right now. This is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 for my birthday itself. So I needed to spend some of this money to get some gear for it. I spent $20 on a tripod stand, $52.95 on 2 micro SD card readers, $50 for a micro SD card, and finally $139 on a DJI mic. This is a relatively big investment for me, but I believe that in the long run they will pay off. To be perfectly honest, I think it's just because I'm so excited to bring this camera out to do some vlogging and, you know, try out different types of content. So I brought all this gear to complement it and to enjoy myself a little bit more. Hey, it's my birthday after all, and it's my anniversary, so I think I deserve a little bit of time. I work hard as well. I deserve a little bit of this kind of rewards in order to make myself create more spectacular, or rather create more exciting content for you guys and for myself as well. In fact, this very video right here is filmed on my brand new DJI camera as well. I don't know if you guys can tell the quality is better, things are a little bit sharper, but I'm using the same mic. Actually, I'm not using the DJI mic, but I'm using the new camera itself. So this brings the total for investments to $1,387.95. I spent a total of $824.77 last month, so this was an increase of over $500, which is pretty insane. But thankfully, the camera gear is a one-off purchase, so we'll go back to about this amount for next month itself. Thankfully, if you're just coming to live in Singapore and enjoy yourself, this is not a category that you have to worry about unless you are a YouTuber like me. The next biggest expense will be food and drinks. I spent a whopping $1,118.32 this month for food and drinks. Now, before you go all crazy and start ripping me to shreds in the comments, let me explain myself. I was actually trying my best to keep my food expenses as low as possible for the entire month itself, but the big event that occurred this month was the anniversary dinner with my girlfriend. So we went to this really nice restaurant called Wulu Mulu near Raffles Place to have some really nice steaks. So if you guys are in Singapore and you really love steak, you might want to try this place out. To be fair, it is a bit expensive because the meal we had cost us around $452 for 2 steaks itself, 1 pasta and 1 dessert as well. So this was honestly one of the best steaks that I've had in Singapore. I cannot even stress that as much. It's actually as good as some of the beef that I had eaten in Japan, and that was amazing in Japan. Just that this is like what, almost 10 times more expensive, but you know, it is what it is. This is one of the better things you can get in Singapore. But if you have a special occasion to celebrate, you can consider this restaurant itself. Also, this is not a sponsored video, don't get me wrong, I'm really just sharing my lovely experience of eating at this nice restaurant. You can go if you want to, ignore this if you're not a beef or steak fan. But if you stay tuned for the July income video that's coming on soon, you will see that I had a one-time big income source that potentially covered this entire meal, so I'm not too worried about it. Other than this, the big meal, I spent a total of around $666 for the rest of the month, which is pretty decent and was actually lower than the month of June itself. And for you guys who want to live in Singapore, there's actually very affordable options everywhere. You can choose to either spend less than $10 for a meal at a coffee shops or hawker center, or if you want to bore like me, then you can go to an expensive restaurant like Wulu Mulu. Point is, you can live rather cheaply in Singapore if you wanted to, despite us being one of the most expensive cities in Singapore. However, counting everything in, considering that I spent $1,016.70 last month, I've exceeded it by a total of $101.62. Seems like month of month, as I'm trying my best to decrease my spending and save more, I inevitably spend a little bit more on unexpected things, but that's why I have my sinking fund that I've been diligently saving up every single month for the last few months itself. Next will be insurance and rent. This one is fairly consistent and doesn't change at all every month. For insurance, I pay $200 every month for life, accident and disability coverage. I also live with my parents, and in Singapore we live in these things called HDBs. I give my mom money every month for living expenses like rent, and that comes up to around $500 every month. For you guys who are coming to Singapore to live for a relatively long period of time, let's say 6 months to 1 year, I would actually suggest renting a room in the HDBs. That would be one of the cheaper options. Hostels are also possible, but unfortunately I've never tried one in Singapore before because I've always been living with my parents. Maybe that would be a good video idea for the future. How much does it cost to live in a hostel in Singapore? Maybe to live in somewhere else in Singapore. Maybe a condo, landed, whatever it is. It could be a good video idea. Let me know in the comments if you want me to make a video like that. Next will also be transport expenses. Transport in Singapore is broadly categorized into two different categories, like buses and MRT for one, and the second one will be cab rides. Our country is small and public transport system is relatively cheap and inexpensive, so it's honestly good enough to use them to travel around Singapore. I spent an average of $100 for the whole month just on public transport. This is considered very cheap compared to many other countries, especially compared to Japan when I was there in June taking the Shinkansen here and there. You can just randomly take trains here and there and it would just come up to maybe hundreds of dollars just, purchasing the train tickets, purchasing this and that just to travel to different places in Japan. Not that I'm saying that it's bad, but it's just that in Singapore, our country is small, so things are a lot more affordable. So for you guys who come to Singapore itself, just stick to the buses and trains to move around. If you're in a hurry, then you can consider taking cabs like Grab, Tada, and Gojek. I spent a total of $117.34 on cab rides this month because I like to take them at off-peak timings at cheap prices when I go home from work, just to save some time. In total, I spent $217.34 on transport money. This is less than last month when I spent $229 on transport. Not much lesser, but at least a win is a win and I'll take it. Next on the list will be miscellaneous subscriptions. This has been steadily increasing every month sadly as I found new things to add to this list. As of right now, I have 6 things that are currently on this list. Every month it just starts increasing. So Flat Icon costs $15.89, Photoshop $31.12, Google Storage is $4, ViewStats is $67.81, Notion costs $16.20, and YouTube Premium costs $17.98. So far, the addition for this month was Notion and YouTube Premium. I think Notion was actually previously free, but I didn't have much of a choice. They started charging for it, and since this is what I use, to organize all my ideas and everything for YouTube itself, I started paying for the membership as well. YouTube Premium is also something I started using so far because they didn't allow me to load my videos at home, and I think I was spiked, or I didn't want to go and rectify the problem after work. I just quickly signed up for it, and so far it's been quite awesome not having to see any YouTube ads anymore. So in total, I spent $153 for all my subscriptions. Previously in June, I spent a total of $118.82, so this is an increase of almost $40 from last month. I'll try my best to keep it here and not increase it anymore for next month, but no promises. I keep finding new things that I can use to improve on my YouTube journey, so I hope I don't find anything new this month itself. Lastly will be phone bills, which is the smallest of all my expenses. Nothing too crazy, just my usual plan of $70.22, which was part of the upgrade I made for my iPhone 15 Pro. It has stayed the same as last month, so that's nice. If you made it all the way to this part of the video, this is your final reward. I have spent a total of $3,656.83. This is more than a $500 increase from last month. Let's break this down a little bit as well. So a lot of the increase was actually due to the big anniversary celebration that I had with my girlfriend and the new camera gear that I bought this month itself. Thankfully, these are all one-time expenses. I hope so. I'm telling myself this every single month, but this is really a one-time event. spent this month itself, and I'll try my best to keep them non-existent for the rest of the year. Thankfully, I had some new revenue sources this month that can buffer for these expenses, and also my sinking fund of $500 from last month to offset these expenses. So it does make me feel a bit nervous that my expenses for YouTube are increasing so much. So if I continue to feel this way, I might just start to reduce some of these videos by the next few months, maybe reducing the frequency to once a week so that, I can really cut down on my expenses, but at the same time continue to upload these videos for you guys. Let's see how things go, and I'll update you guys on the progress on this channel month by month. Hopefully this full breakdown was useful for you guys to get a sneak peek on how much a Singaporean like me spends in a whole month of July. If you enjoyed watching this video here, then you'll probably enjoy this video here on how much money I earned in the month of June. Thanks for watching, have an amazing day as usual, and I'll see you guys in the next few videos. Bye bye.